experience the presence of God, then you will come to know God. Dear friends in Jesus Christ, let us listen to the word of God. Matthew chapter 16, verses 13 to 20. Now, when Jesus came into the district of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that the Son of Man is?" And they said, "Some say John the Baptist, but others Elijah, and still others Jeremiah or one of the prophets." He said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." And Jesus answered him, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father in heaven. And I tell you, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." Then he sternly ordered the disciples not to tell anyone that he was the Messiah. Once, an atheist approached an old, ignorant, pious lady. He wanted to put her down with his knowledge. He asked her, "Who is your God? How he looks like? Is he big or small?" The old lady replied, "My God is both big as well as small. He is so big because he covers the entire universe. On the other hand, he is so small because he can come into my heart and live in there." How she was able to give that profound answer? The simple answer is because she followed and loved God with her heart. Similarly, in today's gospel, Jesus asks his disciples, "Who do the people say that the Son of Man is?" And the answers we heard from the gospel just a while ago. But he said to them, "Who do you say that I am?" It is never enough to know what others say about Jesus, but Jesus must be always our personal discovery. In the gospel, we have examples of people wondering about Jesus' identity. In Matthew chapter 8, verses 27, when Jesus calmed the sea, the disciples were amazed and said, "What sort of a man is this? Even the winds and the sea obey him." Again in chapter 11, verses 3, John the Baptist sent his disciples to ask, "Are you the one who is to come, or are we to wait for another?" Further in chapter 13, 54, people of Jesus' hometown wondered and said, "Where did this man get this wisdom and deeds of power?" But later when they experienced Jesus, they had a great esteem for him. They certainly had a positive opinion about him, but some of them did not believe him as the Son of God, the Messiah. In the gospel, very few are able to recognize him as the Son of God, the Messiah, and that was possible only because of their lived experience with Jesus. Samaritan woman and the blind Bartimaeus, they were able to recognize Jesus as the Son of God, the Messiah. And in today's gospel, for all the disciples, Peter proclaims that Jesus is the Son of God, the Messiah. Peter knows this because he has seen Jesus going to pray unto the poor, unto the lonely, unto the marginalized. He has seen Jesus doing the ministry of Messiah. Now, Peter can no longer think of God without thinking of Jesus, without seeing the face of God in the face of Jesus, and without finding in Jesus the one who fills up his senses with the aroma of God. Yes, dear friends, today Jesus comes and asks each one of us, not what others say about Jesus, but what he can say about Jesus. We could see in the gospel several examples of people, those who have experienced Jesus. But sometimes our experience of Jesus remains only in and around the four walls of the small chapel. But we must be able to recognize him much more than that. St. Paul would say of himself in 2 Timothy chapter 1 verses 12, I know the one in whom I have put my trust. I know the one in whom I have put my trust. Christianity is not knowing about Jesus, but knowing Jesus. Rabindranath Tagore in his Gitanjali has got a poem with this radical message. He says, leave this standing and singing of beads. Whom do thou worship in this lonely dark corner of a temple with doors all shut? Open thine eyes and see, thy God is not before thee. He is there where the tiller is tilling the ground, where the pathmaker is breaking the stones. He is with them in the sun and in the shower, and his garment is covered with dust. Put off thy holy mantle, and even like him, come down into the dusty soil. Yes, dear friends, we must be able to experience Jesus not only in the tabernacle, but also amidst our friends, whomsoever we meet, and much more than that, even in the downtrodden. One day, two priests were on their way to the hospital. On the way, they met a beggar who was sitting beside the road. One of the priests gave a broad smile at him and gave few coins in his hand and touched his feet and said, have a nice day. The beggar got surprised and he cried out, oh God. After a few minutes of silence, the other priest asked his friend, who is God here, whether the priest or the beggar? The friend priest replied, the priest God met the beggar God, and the outcome is the beggar God realized the priest God. The priest God met the beggar God, and the outcome is the beggar God realized the priest God. Saint Teresa of Calcutta and whomsoever she had served had this experience of Jesus. Pope Francis and whoever meets him have this experience of Jesus around them. What about us? May the Eucharistic Lord help us to recognize the God's presence in and through our life. Amen.